Good morning, Vanwart. I'm Bree Jemison.
And I'm Kaylee Phillips.
And we have an extra special announcement focusing on a few of the clubs and organizations that make Wert High School the home of Cougar Pride.
On today's show, we have a behind-the-scenes look at how AP Government did at We the People, the FCCLA Club as it prepares for regional competition, and how the robotics team added a second robot to this year's roster.
We will also look at how Gabe Steyer's wrestling season is going and a behind-the-scenes look on our Quiz Bowl team.
So what are we waiting for?
Let's get started. Wert High School's AP Government class recently competed for the state We the People, earning a respectable second place. Keaton Brown spoke with Mr. Callis and Lawson Blackmore about how the group prepared for this year's competition.
I'm Keaton Brown, reporting for Wert High School News and Sports. I had the opportunity to interview AP Government students who recently competed at state for We the People. Here's what they had to say.
We the People preparation is a couple of months. A lot of research, a lot of reading of historical documents. They do things on their own, and we spend class time preparing, going over questions, writing prepared statements. I think this is my fourth, and Coach Priest was doing it many years before me.
We spent about 3 months preparing. We had 6 statements because we had 2 units. And not only was it preparing those statements, but it was also researching our topic and just getting as much background information as we possibly could.
It's always good to watch the students perform at a high level with material and content that is very complex.
My experience was really cool because I learned a lot of information that I would have never learned before in the past. It was great getting to meet all the executive people that were there from Columbus and getting to meet all the judges and all the people around. It was just a really cool experience.
The weather played a part in it this year a little bit. Missing school, didn't know if we were going to go because of the weather. So
we did get the wild card. There were supposed to be 10 teams there, but only 3 teams showed up because of a level 1 snow alert. But we did get the wild card, so we did have the possibility of going to nationals. But as a class, we chose not to just because of all the school events that are going on that weekend.
Our students are so involved in other sports that during that time period, there's baseball, there's softball, there's track, I think state band, robotics, so we just couldn't make it work. So no, we're not.
I would like to thank Lawson Blackmore and Mr. Callis for giving us information on We the People. This has been Keaton Brown reporting for Wert High School News and Sports. Now back to the studio.
Ever wonder what goes on behind the scenes of FCCLA? Bree Jemison, Jacob Hart, and Colt McLeod got the chance to speak with Ms. Reagan and Jaden Wagner on the various activities our FCCLA students are involved in this year, including FCCLA Week, and how they are preparing for their regional competition.
So any student that has taken a family consumer science class can be a part of FCCLA. It is considered the ultimate leadership experience. We have a state organization too that you can go through to state activities. You can compete. And if you do really well, then you can even go to nationals.
Last year, Mackenzie Sanderson and I did a project, and we actually went straight to state. And that was both of our first years in FCCLA. And we went straight to state, like I said, and we had never done a project before. And all of us who went, I think there were like 3 or 4 groups that went, we actually all got gold at state. So that meant we went back up on stage, and if you get first or second place at state, then you have a chance to go to nationals. I joined FCCLA because I was in Mrs. Reagan's interior design class last year, and she mentioned it to Lane and I, Lane Spoor. She mentioned it to us, and I wasn't involved in anything else, so I decided to just join FCCLA to see what it was like.
We have quite a few projects going on, and ones that are involving more students. Some are individual projects. We have some that is a career investigation, another that's a recycle redesign, a fashion construction project. But we have some group ones. One group is working with the homeless. So they are collecting socks this week. If you donate a pair of socks, you get a chance to win a really cool Valentine's Day basket filled with all kinds of goodies.
The project that I'm doing is career investigations, and basically I'm just doing it over what I do for CEO, and for CEO I go over to the elementary and do a special education classroom.
FCCLA Week is a whole week-long celebration of FCCLA. We have a lot of different activities. You can choose whatever you want as your own club has. We do a lot of different things. Yesterday we had a candy guess, and students could guess how many candy in the jar, and then they win it. Today is logo hunt. If they find that, then they get a coupon for a cinnamon roll for Cougar Cafe, which we have that once a month to help to raise money for our projects.
I want to thank Jaden Wagner and Mrs. Reagan for giving us an inside look on FCCLA Week. This is Bree Jemison from Van Wert News and Sports. Now back to the studio. The Van Wert Wrestling program has seen a lot of success over the past years. Colin Place, Kaylee Phillips, and Ari Pengel got the chance to talk to junior standout wrestler Gabe Sire and Coach Ben Collins about this season and the upcoming tournament.
Good morning, I'm Colin Place, reporting for Van Wert High School News and Sports. Van Wert Wrestling has had very many successful wrestlers over its past few years. Gabe Steyer is the next wrestling standout. I had the opportunity to speak to Coach Collins and Gabe Steyer over Gabe's recent success.
Gabe's different from the rest of the team by the amount of work that he's put into wrestling throughout his lifetime. Gabe started when he was young, came from a wrestling family, so he's done a lot of wrestling. He's traveled across the country to find good competition, which has made him the wrestler he is today. Another thing is Gabe has an intense focus when it comes to wrestling. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but when it's time to wrestle, he narrows in and can focus on what needs to be done to be successful.
I'd say I work pretty hard. Probably one of the hardest in the room on good days.
To push Gabe, it's pretty simple. He's very outcome driven. So if he's slacking in practice, it's as simple as, hey, that's not good enough to get to where you want to be. So he responds very well to that. He likes attention, so if we can give him some attention about what needs to be done moving forward, he's very good at that. But he does a great job of being able to focus, like I said before, to the point where there's not a whole lot of pushing that needs to be done. We travel the state in wrestling trying to find good competition for our good guys, him and Isaiah and our upperclassmen, where we can go to tournaments where our young guys get enough matches in to get experience, but those old guys get pushed, and we've done a good job of that lately. So I think he's ready to go, and he'll be focused heading into this weekend, knowing that his goal at the end of the road is near.
What motivates you to keep wrestling?
Probably my dad and winning, of course.
Gabe's Gabe, and he's good at his craft, and he's put in the work and effort to be good. So I mean, if a young wrestler's looking at that and how do I get to be good, Gabe has set a footprint on how to reach those goals.
I don't know what my future goals are yet, but I'm not sure if I want to wrestle at the next level. I'm not sure if I want to get an education and just start working, but I guess we'll find that out next year.
We would like to thank Coach Collins and Gabe Steyer for allowing us to interview them. We would also like to wish Gabe and his teammates the best of luck as they continue their season. I'm Colin Place, reporting for Van Wert High School News and Sports. Back to the studio.
The Van Wert robotics team ended an impressive run this year, earning once again a spot to represent Van Wert at the state competition. Jaden Lemkel caught up with Mr. Spath and senior Noah Carter after the conclusion of this year's season.
Hi Van Wert, this is Jaden Lemkel reporting for Van Wert News and Sports. Robotics is an opportunity for students to design, build, and program a robot and compete at varsity levels. Let's take a look at what goes on inside this program.
We have 2 teams this year for the robotics clubs, and we meet every day, Monday through Thursday, from 2:45 to 5:15 roughly, starting the last Monday in October, and we go until the season's over. And usually it's at the beginning of March, end of February. So it's a winter sport.
Yeah, this year was challenging, especially for me, because we had an additional team. Instead of 3 freshmen, it was 3 new freshmen. It was 9 freshmen because we had 6 on the other team. So with that, I definitely do feel like both teams competed the best that we could.
Our ultimate goal is to make sure we produce kids that are great problem solvers, critical thinkers, work well together, and then build great robots is always an awesome thing if you do those things well. And they did this year. I mean, if you saw how much work went into building these the last 3 months.
It was tough starting out, but really they've kind of strengthened at least my leadership ability and teaching them. But as a team, as a whole for the team, it was kind of, we can bounce ideas off each other and think critically. Instead of just 12 members, we have 18 brains working together to build 2 different robots. So truly it's strengthened our teamwork and our ability to solve tasks. So
it would shock most people. I mean, we have kids that get here at 7 a.m., 5 days a week. They stay till 5:15. The same kids, and the robots are just so awesome this year. I mean, we really are impressed of how good they got.
Thank you, Mr. Spath and Noah Carter for your interview. This has been Jane Lemke reporting for Van Wert News and Sports.
If you love reading books and would like to join an organization, then Book Club is perfect for you. Jalen Rickard of Van Wert High School's News and Sports spoke with Media Center Specialist Mrs. Smith and Senior Storm Matthews on how students can get involved with the unique new club.
Hello Cougars, this is Jalen Rickard reporting for Van Wert High School News and Sports. The newest club to be introduced to Van Wert is Book Club. I got the chance to speak with Senior Storm Matthews and Media Center Specialist Mrs. Smith. Let's see what they have to say.
We really started Book Club last school year. So I had some students come to me that were interested in having a club and talking about books, and so that's kind of how it got started.
Is that we used to pick a book, like everybody would vote on like maybe 10 books and pick which one that they wanted to read as a group, and we'd all read the same book, and then you'd come in and you'd discuss things that happened in that book, or just things that you liked about it, or maybe even thoughts about like the specific author if you've read other types of their books or anything like that. But now they're changing things up. So the next couple meetings, we're supposed to read whatever book you read. And so you can come in and discuss maybe 20 different books, because everybody will be discussing different books to see if you can find something else that you might like to read.
Really, the main thing we've changed is this year, instead of everyone reading the same book and us discussing that book, we're going to try something a little different, and where people can just come and talk about a book they've read since the last time we met. And that way people can hear about different books and get different ideas, and it kind of creates a less stress environment because you're not required to have something finished by the time we meet. You can just talk about what you're currently reading if you want.
The whole goal of book club is to get you out of your, like, what you typically read. So most people, they like read fantasy because they want something, with like dragons or monsters or something like that.
We just want kids to come that are interested in maybe learning about some other books that they might want to read, or that really want to talk about books.
We meet up once a month, and I think we finally established that we wanted it to be the second Tuesday of every month.
We would love to have people, join us, and we'd like to hear a little bit more about what other people are reading or what they're interested in. And you can come even if you don't want to talk. So if you just want to come and hear about books, you don't have to actually speak. You can just come and listen.
If you want to check out Book Club, they meet the second Tuesday of every month. I'd like to thank Senior Storm Matthews and Media Center Specialist Mrs. Smith. This was Jalen Rickard reporting for Van Wert High School News and Sports. Now back to the studio.
It's hard to believe it, but it's almost time for this year's Goodwill Games. Let's check in with Clayton Prophet, Brooke Som, and Dylan Rager to see how the Van Wert student body is doing with meeting their required goals.
I'm Clayton Prophet reporting for Van Wert News and Sports. Every year, students have a chance to earn Goodwill Games by completing a list of goals. We checked in with Student Body President Marshall Healy and Mrs. Bowersock on how their goals are going.
The goals for Goodwill Games were to have Spirit Week participation be at a certain percentage, to have less than 100 bottles found in the recycling bins, and then we had 2 blood drive goals for the fall blood drive and the spring blood drive that we just completed.
To reach Goodwill Games, we have to meet, I believe it's 4 out of our 6 goals. And for example, one of those is like our blood drive, we have recycling, things like that. Just requirements that need to be met that puts the goodwill into Goodwill Games.
The goals have gone really well so far. We've met the Spirit Week, we met The first blood drive, we met just got it, but we got it.
Had a little bit of a hiccup with the blood drive with seniors being out and just time constraints, but I think we're on pretty good track. We just got to stay focused.
Popularity of some games varies from year to year with, even different grade levels, but I think dodgeball is always pretty popular and people get into that.
I would say the ones that get the most attention are like the tug of war, arena football, basketball, and volleyball.
With the students' hard work, they are on pace to reach the Goodwill Games. Thank you to Marshall and Mrs. Bowersock for letting us interview them. I'm Clayton Prophet, now back to the studio.
The Quiz Bowl team is a group that tests the academic skills in competitions against other schools. Kane Thomas and Killian sat down with Miss Zuber and sophomore William Ogden to find out what it takes to be a member of Quiz Bowl and how the season is shaping up for the team.
Hello Cougars, this is Caden Thomas reporting for Van Wert High School News and Sports. Today we're going to be interviewing Quiz Bowl member William Ogden and Coach Zuber. They're studying very hard for their upcoming Quiz Bowl tournament.
When I was younger, I loved doing trivia stuff, and I also like the aspect of working together as a team. We get here and we set up for practice, and then we usually settle in and start it off. I just want to say that Quiz Bowl is a really fun activity. It's not physical like track or soccer, but it's a good thing to be able to work together as a team and to improve on stuff that you may not know already and to show off what you know already.
This has been Caden Thomas reporting for Van Wert High School News and Sports, sending you back to the studio.
Well, that's all we have for you. Thank you for tuning in to Van Wert High School News and Sports, Winter Edition.
We'll be back this spring to give you more behind the scenes of what Van Wert students are up to with a special inside look at prom preparations, the CEO program, seniors' future plans, and much more.
This has been Kaylee
and Bree
reporting for Van Wert News and Sports.
See you next time.